When we were in Flint a month ago, I stumbled upon, I was doing interviews and such, and I stumbled upon the fact that the state of Michigan, I can't really go into detail what they were doing, but that the state of Michigan was straight up cheating on the water testing in Flint. Does that surprise you? Does that shock you? So
Not in the least.
recently, about last year in September, and then there's been other declarations, it's been declared that Flint's water is now back to normal. And I, through doing interviews and other things, found out some shocking information that the way the state tested was frankly blatantly against EPA regulations. And although I wasn't surprised, I knew that, one or two examples was not enough. So what Jen and I did was we basically knocked on doors. How many doors would you say we knocked on?
400.
We knocked on about 400 doors, a lot of them before Ty got, and then Ty joined us, to basically get
And Jen was out there like Dora the Explorer. She was going off book and everything. She wasn't just using the examples that we had on that list, but just doing a great job.
We went to just about every ward. Well, Flint has about 9 wards. We knocked on some nice doors, and we knocked on some doors that, frankly, were half off. There was a lot of communities that literally looked like a bomb just dropped in it.
And that's very much on purpose, which we'll get into later.
And really, I don't want to get into full details because I don't want the state to know what we found. No, you can bring it to us. Thank you very much. But we found staggering levels of basically cheating, cooking up the numbers so that they could produce lower numbers and say, oh, we're meeting EPA regulations. And that's what they did in order for the governor of Michigan, Rick Snyder, to shut down the water pods. And now the state of Michigan is, quote unquote, handing off the water testing to the city of Flint. But,
Hey, Steve, I don't think they can just shove us under the rug. It's so egregious that they cannot.
yeah, no,
It's so bad.
this is not shove under the rug material. I won't get into who, but I am meeting with a national news outlet this week that's interested in the story. The New York Times already tried to steal the story. So it's not something that's going to be swept under the rug, trust me, because this is not like gray area. This is like there's an EPA regulation on how water testing is done, and then this is how they did it, and how they did it was blatant cheating. And I've already talked to people that are experts on water testing who said this is cheating.
Lead testing specifically.
So I didn't want to reveal that we were infant because, frankly, knocking on doors, if we were making it known what we had found, how we had found it, what we were digging into, you're just putting a giant target on your back. Because let's keep it real. I mean, the government is not beyond hurting people that dig for information that expose them. So
the devil's chessboard.
In due time, you will know exactly what we found, how they cheated, but all I could say is the more doors we knocked on, the more evidence we got. It's just staggering. It's really staggering. And the more people we spoke to, because it's not like we knocked on doors and talked to people for 2 minutes. We were in some homes for 45 minutes, an hour. The more
a lot of homes.
Yeah, the more people we spoke to, yes, we cheated, but you just get more and more information that shows this is not, this is a very obvious effort at ethnic cleansing, I would say.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Ethnic cleansing. I would hope not, but I know it's definitely deliberate. I think what they're doing. As you talk to people, you get the same exact story, which would be obvious if they were cheating. They would tell people the exact same, but you get the exact same thing. Run your water.
Don't go into detail about what we found. I just said they cheated.
Okay.
We don't want to go into detail yet.
Okay, so yeah, they cheated.
Well, why I said ethnic cleansing was like when you literally, as a government official, go into somebody's home, either an older person, parents with kids, and you knowingly test water in a way you know is going to create an artificial number, you're putting those people at risk.
Absolutely.
And then when you do
But I
other
think
things to those numbers to make it look even
no,
better.
absolutely, absolutely. But I think a good point, a good thing to point out also is about like whoever those when we talked about those volunteers that really were just doing what they were told
Yeah.
versus not, but you know whoever the man is deliberately is doing it. They know people aren't going to ask questions, and whoever's implementing those the ways in which they do is more than likely just you know a pawn.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, the government in general definitely are what the things they've been doing have been deliberate, and it's sickening. And I try to somehow wrap my mind around how a person can rationalize, you know, killing people. And I guess the only thing that I came up with to try to see if it's possible is just like, you know, when a person smokes a cigarette, you don't, you know, if you smoke, if every time you hit a cigarette, you died a little, people probably wouldn't smoke. And but because you don't, and so you just smoke until it's too late, right? And it's the same thing. Maybe because they don't see the people. Well, in this sense, I guess you can kind of see the sickness, but you don't really see people dying like that. And the way they're dying could be attributed to a lot of other things. So maybe in that aspect, I can see how someone can wrap their head around doing this to people, killing people. Maybe because it's not an immediate,
Right.
you know, death or whatever. It's just it's hard. And I'm trying to rationalize it to make some sense out of it because
Right.
it's so deliberate and it's so in your face like what
Right.
they've been doing.
And
Well-
I can't even count how many homes we knocked on and someone said, "Oh, that person died," or "Oh, my younger
Yeah.
brother died." So many
Like
people
recently.
are dead.
Recently, yeah, in the past
since
year.
the water switch, just dead.
And also,
Like every other home.
also what I think is important, there's kind of this talking point that has gotten out there, and some people have even said it to me, like, Jordan, we appreciate your passion on Flint, but there's like 3,000 other cities with worse lead levels than Flint. And I think what our story is going to expose, we don't know the actual lead levels in Flint,
In Flint.
because the testing that was done, frankly, cooked up the numbers. They did many obvious things that we found to produce lower numbers, and they did some subtle things to produce lower numbers. They also threw out a lot of the high tests and only used low tests. There's just a whole lot of things that we're going to reveal when the eventual story gets out. But number one, I think it's not just about Flint, because I think what we are going to show in this report, I would not be shocked if it's happening in other states too that have lead problems or other contamination.
Jim was even telling us Pittsburgh.
Right,
has water
because when you are allowing the state, whether it's Michigan or other states, that are in large part responsible for the contamination in the first place, to then be the people who test,
Yeah.
you're asking people to test themselves in a way. So what we found, like, I don't get stunned often, but this story in a way has stunned me because this is just out in the open. It's not just corruption, it's intent. There's intent. I don't know about the harm, but there's intent to
With all corruption,
produce.
there's intent.
Yeah, there is intent here to lie to people. There's intent here to put people at risk. And there's intent here essentially to sweep this under the rug, declare the crisis over, and move on.
Yeah.
And
Because then, what any other causes to a person's health can be attributed to anything else. If we can get past this, if we can say the water's good, and then people start falling off in a year or two, well, it's not the water.
right. So I think
It's easy to say that, you know, if you can say that the water's good. You know what I mean? You can kick the numbers, and people start, oh, it's not the water.
Right.
They're just dying from natural causes.
And ultimately, I think Jen and I were there for 2 weeks. Ty joined us about a week ago, and we knocked on, like she said, probably 400 doors. We had some incredible conversations. We had some downright depressing conversations. We had some people that didn't want to talk to us.
I'll say, like, this morning a resident called us, and it was the first time I broke down crying. I held it together all week, but this story was it just got me, like, the emotions. These people are so good. They invite you into their home. They are so happy that someone's paying attention to what's still going on. They're just good people.
Right. And yeah, I can't tell you the when. I am meeting with a national news outlet this week. It's a fairly big news outlet. I've been talking to them as soon as I first found out, like the first few examples of cheating. I alerted them, and we've been talking a little bit, and now we're going to meet, and I'm going to share all my evidence. And we've taken pretty scrupulous notes and have a lot of evidence. And
by the way, the notes are my notes.
yes, well, I did transcribe a lot of but
Jesus
They
Christ.
teach me about my note taking.
yes, but hopefully we'll be able to reveal very soon exactly how they cheated, exactly what the conditions are there now, and most importantly, hopefully when we break this, I think A, they need to redo the testing. B, it cannot be done by the state of Michigan. C, they need to open up those water pods. I mean, there's people literally that can't work because they're sick as hell. They have no car, so they can't go buy bottled water, and they have no money, so they can't go buy bottled water. And the governor and the state just shut down the water pods, basically based on cooked numbers. And this isn't our opinion. This is knocking on 400 doors and getting direct evidence that the state went into many, many homes and tested the wrong way, not by accident, on purpose. So, yeah, it's definitely the biggest story I've ever been involved with. It's going to take a lot of work to get all our notes into a coherent story. Obviously, the majority of corporate media, it takes a lot to break through. But I think this story could even break through the Trump media complex.
Yeah, I almost think it's the biggest story the United States has seen for
Trump
decades
media industrial.
if you eliminate whatever's going on with the Trump stuff.
Yeah, it's definitely the biggest environmental / social justice story
Yeah.
in a long time. And hopefully, I am going to an outlet this week. Hopefully they see what we all see, and we can get it out as soon as possible.